Welcome back to Secondhand Sellers, where we talk about all things thrift, resale, and secondhand. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Klayton.
Thanks for joining us again this week. Today we would like to talk about considering trending or viral items, topics, when you're going to source.
Yeah. So we've talked before about seasonality when it comes to reselling. For example, spring is not quite around the corner yet for us, but it is approaching swiftly. So with that, you got to remember your golf clubs and other outdoors material. But what about when it comes to viral memes or viral things that people are talking about online? For example, what if a movie is coming out?
We've talked about this, maybe we did touch on it into a video, but Barbie, when Barbie came out, you said you had picked up some Barbie stuff in anticipation of the buzz around the movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I think when you think about, especially movies and these big franchises, so Marvel or Barbie or any of these brand related franchises, even Mario maybe, it triggers sales sometimes in related items because it's in people's minds.
Yeah, it's in people's minds, and some people, they either are chasing that nostalgia or they're, wanting to give somebody something that relates to the topic of whatever it may be. Sometimes it's not quite like that. Sometimes it's an item that somebody found and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they made this. This is awesome. And it goes viral online. And I think we saw some of that recently on TikTok, right?
I was watching YouTube videos, actually. And I watched a YouTube video and I saw that this girl got this. It was the Lennox Spice Village. And she got it for Christmas. It was the actual spice rack and all these little spice containers that are shaped like houses. They're sort of like the Christmas Village kind of thing, but they're spice jars.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. We'll post a picture of it.
Yeah, I'll put it on here. See. And after that, I looked them up, and then that's when I realized they're going for a ton of money because they were trending on TikTok. And so I am kind of out of the loop with TikTok. I'll be honest about that. But some of these things that are trending on there are peaking in resale.
Yeah.
So, and these are vintage. I think they maybe stopped making them. I looked into them a little bit, and I think maybe 80s is the last time they made them, maybe early 90s. I'm not really sure.
But that was something that before the video started to go viral, you could probably go to your general vintage shop and pick them up for an affordable price, and now they're going for astronomical amounts
and that
of money.
Includes individual spice jars, probably so people can build the collection or replace broken ones. But the entire set is going for a ton, and they're really cute, so I get why they're popular. But things like that are exploding online, that as a reseller it might be worth picking up.
Yeah.
Say what you will, I think it's a little crazy, and no offense to anybody if they're into this trend, but the Stanley Cup thing.
Yes.
Insane. And I'm not saying, again, we've talked about responsible sourcing, about not being a hoarder or
a
super
price
greedy. So, I maybe don't agree with this, going in and buying up all of the stock from a store and then jacking it up hundreds of dollars. No. But if you happen to see one for some reason at a garage sale, maybe somebody got over it before everybody else did, something like that. Those are all trends. So can you think of anything else that you've seen go in the past or currently you've seen go viral?
So I think specifically that I can remember a couple years ago, the Lego Star Wars collection came out for the newer systems, and it came with a single Lego Luke Skywalker figure. And that one figure, just because it came in the collector version of the game, people were buying the game for like $100, taking out the figure, selling the figure for like $100, $150.
What?
Yeah, it went nuts just for the one Lego figure. And then keeping the game themselves because they wanted the game.
Uh-huh.
And that was one of those things. It peaked for, it was a good 3 months or so. And a friend of mine who does a lot of Lego reselling, he actually made a good amount of money just buying these, selling the individual figures, and then selling the game separately.
Mm-hmm.
But then it reached a point where it flatlined, and now you can get the figure. It's like $70
Mm-hmm.
in comparison to what it was originally, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's still pretty high though.
It's still high, but the reason it made it so viral was mainly because they only made a limited number of those,
Mm-hmm.
and they only put them in the collector boxes, and so it just made a demand. Now that demand was obviously a little bit hyperinflated,
Mm-hmm.
just because some people were buying as many collector boxes as they could. That price gouging that we see, but don't encourage. And you just end up getting a good deal if you end up finding something like that yourself. But
Mm-hmm. I think too, you can look at general trends.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we've talked about cottagecore was really hot. Y2K, which is insane because I lived the original version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Was trending. May even still be trending. I'm not sure. 90s stuff was trending.
Even 80s stuff with like 80s fest that
80s.
They kick off.
And also like certain aesthetic things. So like there's all these aesthetic movements that you talk about in decor and how people are dressing and that kind of thing. And I think kind of being aware of the kinds of communities, individual communities that you see on the internet, on YouTube, on TikTok, people that are following these kinds of specific aesthetics or hobbies or trends or whatever you want to call them, and thinking about what you might see out in the thrift stores, at garage sales that would fit into that. So like the Y2K thing, you might be able to find some of those things from the early 2000s at a garage sale. In fact, you were very likely to be able to find things like that. And maybe it isn't a specific item that's trending, but it's a general aesthetic or era that's trending.
Yeah.
And so I think those are things to keep in mind. Do you have any other thoughts on that, like trending topics or viral sales?
Don't get swept up in it though, because
don't go. Don't.
You wouldn't want to be like, oh, this is selling really well, and jump into it without doing research, and then getting burned because what you have is not actually collectible. I couldn't think of anything specifically, aside from the fact that, for example, with my Barbie stuff, I still have some Barbie stuff. It's been stagnant on eBay basically since the movie came out. It did really well for that month to 2 months, and then it's just boom. And I've sold maybe one thing here, maybe one thing here.
Yeah.
But I'm not upset about it because I don't have a lot invested in it.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time about sourcing cheaply. So don't like think, oh, there's this trend, I have to be involved with it and spend an exorbitant amount of money for something just to try to be in the trend. It's
good to jump in when you have the opportunity, but don't go out of your way to make it happen. That's kind of my approach.
I had someone tell me, I went to visit some friends in Texas in November, a couple months ago. And she said she watches some TV show called I think it's Love is Blind or something. And for a while, I was not aware of this, but they had these gold wine glasses that they were drinking out of on the show. And those were trending. She's like, if you ever see like a completely, gold wine glass, get it, because that was trending. So even things like that are becoming popular because of a TV show fan base or whatever. Things you may never know. Like if you have a really trendy friend, ask them what's in style.
Yeah.
I'm not that trendy, so it's not me. But so don't invest too much, but just keep an eye out. Just kind of be aware. Pay attention to what you see over and over again when you're online. Most of us are watching YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or whatever. Things that you see constantly, especially over weeks and weeks and weeks, might be indicative of a trend.
Yeah.
That you should be aware of.
That's good.
All right.
What else? Do you have anything else?
I don't think so. Not for that. guess we're good.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us, have you had anything sell in the past month that really you weren't expecting? We'll kind of segue into the unexpected sales.
Okay, yeah, actually I do.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit before we came here to record. I had a couple of Christmas themed things sell right after the Christmas season. So like the first week of January, or the end of the first week of January, we sold an ornament, which I would be thinking, oh, this is the time people are taking down their trees, taking down their Christmas stuff and putting it away. But we sold an ornament, and I had picked it up for $3 at Goodwill this past couple of months when all the Christmas stuff was out, and we sold it for a decent amount. I think we sold it for around $30, maybe a little less than that. So not bad. And again, it was out of season, which surprise.
We've said before, like I will tend to go through my listings and call the ones that they've been stagnant for too long. You don't always have to, and that is a great example where selling Christmas stuff out of season, and not even for like Christmas in July or leading up to Christmas, but January.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was. Maybe somebody was putting their stuff away and was like, wanted to see if maybe they just broke a favorite ornament or something, wanted to see if they replaced it. I don't know why they bought it. But we also had a similar situation where we had this plate set that we had gotten at a Goodwill, oh gosh, months ago, probably over the summer. And early on, it was a huge set of china. It was called, it's the brand American Atelier, and it's the Heavenly Hosts is what the brand is American Atelier, but the type of plate, like the brand, like not the brand, but yeah, like the model of plate was called Heavenly Hosts. So it was more Christmassy, and they sat on eBay for a long time. And then we had done is we had parted it out into like 4 dinner plates, 4 soup plates, bowl things, that kind of thing. And early on, we had sold these cherub spreaders that were in the box, and that paid for the whole lot. So basically, they were free to us. The rest of these plates, they sat for months. What?
Cherub spreaders. I'm just imagining you're spreading.
They were resin cherubs on top of spreaders.
Okay,
we were not
funny.
spreading cherubs. But anyway, we sold those, and that paid for the entire thing, so that was nice. But still, the actual dishes themselves sat there for months and months and months. Christmas season kind of started rolling in, and we sold some, and then we sold some more, and we're like, oh, that's awesome. Finally, these are moving. Christmas came and went, and then all of a sudden, in January, boom, sold another set of 4. I think they were like soup plates, so they're like plates, but with like they're not as deep as a bowl, but they're deeper than a plate. So anyway, they just sold in January.
And that's one of those things. We were theorizing a bit as we were talking. It could either be somebody broke something or really wants to relive their nostalgia, or it could be as simple as they think they're going to get a better deal just because it's after the Christmas season. And I've sold a couple of Christmas ornaments as well, which I was not expecting to do. I didn't delete them because I was just like, they're small. It doesn't actually take up a lot of inventory. I might as well leave them. And then it sells either full price, or I had somebody offer me something. It was a 20% discount, and I took it because I'd rather do that and sell it in January than it sit in my inventory till November.
10 or 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just never know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just Christmas stuff or if Halloween stuff. Like, I really didn't sell, we didn't have much Halloween stuff, but I didn't sell much Halloween related things after Halloween, other than we had this, it was a Mike Myers Geeky Tiki. It was like a little shot glass that was like a Mike Myers themed shot glass.
That's funny.
Halloween. I thought it would, we bought it before Halloween.
Yeah.
It didn't end up selling, and it sold this, I think in January or maybe late December. So I don't know if that's that, or if that person was just a fan of the Halloween franchise, and it's a little bit of a different thing than just a Halloween thing.
I think it has a good lead over, because I do know some people, they like to collect Halloween, not just the franchise, but Halloween related items year round.
Just because of goth or whatever, yeah. So
I
don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. We'd love to hear though if you've seen that. Like, have you left what things that you would think are seasonal on your stores, and you're still seeing sales at odd times of the year? Because that seems like that might be a thing.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that if we both seen it, that other people are seeing it too.
Yeah. And please let us know down below as well if you jumped in on anything with season, or not just seasonality, with trending or viral potential that you ended up being like, cool, finding it and selling it for a good profit.
Yeah, or if you've ever found yourself ahead of the curve. Because there are some, as with anything, antiques, vintage, any kind of collectibles, they go in cycles. So things will be really hot and then they'll just die right off. So have you ever had things that you were selling and then all of a sudden you didn't expect it, but they took off because it came into trend? So that would all be interesting. Do you have any other surprising sales? You said your sales have been pretty good.
Yeah, my sales have been pretty decent. Been going through my own personal collection of a few things, selling some video game stuff. But I've also just been tackling the death pile and going, I have to list,
January, clean out.
list. And one of the things I sold, I think I had it on an episode very early on. It was this blue Masonic emblem bottle made of glass. I paid $1 for it at a garage sale, and it sold for $55. Just
awesome.
My asking price outright. And I already had a few people watching it. It had only been listed for maybe a month, but
it's pretty fast.
It's fast in relation to some of the other stuff I have sitting on there. So
that's another thing, Masonic stuff. I also sold. I picked up a hardcover older book with the Masonic logo on it. It was a Masonic book at an estate sale early this last summer or spring, and similar thing. Like, I got it really cheap, but it's a desirable thing. You don't want to pay too much, but if you see that Masonic stuff out there, it's worth taking a chance on, I think. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us again this week. Come back next week for another episode. Again, like and subscribe while you're down there, and leave us comments. We love comments, and we try really hard to reply. So have a great week and happy reselling.
Yeah. See ya.